is the weekly Grifball Hubcast, only on GrifballHub.com.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Grifball Hubcast. This is episode 320. I'm Sonic Gas. With me are DJ Blue PDX and Trespass.
What's going on, world?
And
what up?
We actually have some news for once. GGL playoffs are in full swing, so I believe we were currently waiting on Gadger to play their game, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Green Army Jr. is going to be taking on Turquoise Jeep, and I think the rumor is that might actually happen today, possibly.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Nice.
But there has not been a confirmation that I've gotten yet. If that's the case, of course, we will do our best to broadcast that game right here on twitch.tv/GrifballHub. If not, we will let you guys know, of course, over Twitter and on the direct channels as soon as we discover that time.
And I believe going on from there, I believe it is Arc that Arc also is in on the other bracket, if I remember correctly. I can talk, I promise. So I believe the winner of this game goes on to play them, or is there one more round?
I think that's a question that I would leave to. I would hand over to Rage, because Rage Murnerd is the person most closely involved with ensuring that all of that gets scheduled.
Yeah, Rage has been handling the playoff brackets, so I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I would have known at one point, but I've forgotten. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, and it's been kind of a crazy couple weeks.
It has.
All right.
So.
So that's coming up. So we are getting very close to the end of the GGL at this point. Looking into the future, AGLA, I don't know if the AGLA admins have announced a date for that yet. I don't believe they have, but I think January, about the beginning of next year, is when they're looking to start that. That's also going to be the start date of the Pro Tour. I think the Pro Tour is going to end up starting first, because right now we're probably maybe 3 weeks out from that, I want to say. The January 2nd will be the first event of the Pro Tour. That will be the first qualifier for the 2017 spring circuit. There's going to be a total of 4 qualifiers held. 2 teams from each make it in. We've discussed this previously in the town hall, which should still be in our recordings. I highlighted that quite a while ago. So if you have not seen that, you should be able to find it through there. Right. Yeah, there's also a announcement post up on the hub that talks about a lot of the details, and there is a Pro Tour website, which should hopefully be going live sometime this week. I'm trying to work with some of the other senior leader members to have a form section made for the Pro Tour. So once that goes up, I'll launch the site to go up along with that. But that's something that Pimp and I have been working on quite a while, and that it looks honestly pretty amazing.
So just to back up for GGL playoffs, do we have a scheduled date currently, or a scheduled week that we know that the final championships will be happening? So people can keep an eye out for when that's going to occur.
I know historically those dates aren't set in stone. It's not the sort of thing where we go at the start of the season and say, this is when the championship will be, but we try to get them to schedule as soon as possible. At this point, we don't know what teams are in the championship, so that's hard to say. Yep. I'm guessing. I believe the winner of the Gadger Turquoise Jeep game goes on to play Arc in the ship. So I think once that's set, I'm guessing Rage will get with those 2 teams and try to get that scheduled as far in advance as possible.
Right.
And, the other thing, we'll talk about the Forge competition.
Yep. So we announced that just this past Wednesday. That's something that we're running in partnership with Forge Hub. The competition, if you look up on the Hub, it should be the latest article still, I believe. It's called Hammerfell. There's also an article up on Forge Hub. Both articles are basically the same, so it's up to you which one you want to read. But all the instructions are in there. We have a pretty big judging panel that'll be doing this. So myself, Rage, and Allie, the GGL admins from this season, we will be judging on behalf of Grifball Hub, and over from Forge Hub they have, I believe it was Nitro, War, and I cannot remember who else. And I believe we have a Sketch from 343 also coming in to judge the final round. Yep,
Sketch is for those of you who don't know, Sketch is the new community manager. He took Bravo's position as Bravo moved into the esports director's role, kind of a thing.
Okay.
On production end. So, and if you guys are wanting to see more kind of the things that we're going to be looking at, and some of the things that have been created in the past for some of Forge Hub's competitions, this coming Friday is going to be a Forge Hub community-run stream night, and it's going to be hosted by, I know I'm going to be there. I will be joined by Spartacat, and we're going to have a couple other guest streamers who are going to be joining us, and we'll be doing games and events all night long on Friday. So that'll be broadcast on twitch.tv/ForgeHub, and I know that the Grifball Hub will be hosting that. So we'll host their channel on ours.
Yep. But yeah, that is, if you are fortunate and you want to participate, take a look at that. I believe we are accepting entries up until about the middle of January. I want to say it's around I believe judging starts the 22nd, and all entries have to be submitted a week before that. And Knockyard will also be working with forgers between the final deadline for submissions and judging beginning to work out all the technical issues with forgers, make sure that they're up to spec to modern playable standards. Not necessarily league standards, but the sort of thing where it's like there's no way for the ball to escape. Players are able to run smoothly from one end of the court to another, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you are interested in forging, and definitely do check that out. There is a prize pool for that Forge Hub is sponsoring. So there is the top 3 forgers, the top 3 courts will receive a $200 prize, and the first place, which will be decided by a community vote from the top 3, will get an additional $300. So if you do forge, you want to make some cash, that might be an option for you. Go take a look at that.
And just in addition to that, as a sidebar, Knockyard and I spent and Dr. Leo actually spent a good several hours the day of on Thursday the 8th, researching and investigating the wonderful new drop that is Monitor's Bounty. 7.2 gig update came out the next section of free DLC for Halo 5 on Thursday, and it had a massive Forge update included with it. Part of that is also the new Observer mode. We were really hoping and looking forward to the fact that from what discussions that I had with people involved closely with the project, was going to hopefully solve a lot of our broadcast problems. And unfortunately, at this time, that is not going to be happening. And so just to clarify, so people understand why we're not going to be using Observer mode immediately until there are some other things that happen. In order to use Observer mode, you cannot... The thing that we wanted was during the flyover cam, what we want to be able to do is turn on all of the service tags so that the viewers can see all 8 players' tag IDs above their names. It makes it easier for both the casters. It makes it easier for the viewers, so you can see who's running where, who's doing what, and what's happening in the middle of the game. For starters, the tags are hard linked to the player outlines. So in order to get the tags turned on, we have to turn the player outlines on. From any type of a distance whatsoever, that outline blurs all of the action, and you really can't see a lot of the movement mechanics, and you can't really see a lot of the action in the field. Number 2, the camera can only be associated with one team or the other, meaning it's either going to only be able to show the red team or blue team for the entire game. Therefore, it renders it basically useless for us. The other problem is it takes up a lot of screen real estate with all of the mod boxes that are on there showing the available ammunition for each weapon that each player is holding. Obviously, we use unlimited ammo for the hammer and the sword, so once again, it's a great feature if you're using POV for Arena Halo, but for what we do in competitive Grifball, it renders it fairly useless. So at this time, until the next update comes out for Observer mode, we are going to be sticking with our current broadcast model, which means that if you want your map, your forged map, to be able to be used in the broadcast, for us to be able to play on it and broadcast it as a competitive map, you need to make sure that you're using the prefab models that are listed and linked on the Forge Hub page that are created by Knockyard in order to be able to fit a broadcast box on top of your map for us to be able to use on stream. And I'm just only bringing that up. It's not a requirement for you to do it for the Forgers competition. However, if you create something for this, and this map is built in with using those prefab elements, I would love for us, after the Forger competition is over, to be able to spend a day, just create a separate stream to showcase your Forge maps. So that would be an awesome thing to be able to do, to play with, to just enjoy, so that you guys can at least get some screen time, and we get to play around on some of the things that you've all created. Just things to keep in mind. All those rules are available, by the way, from Knockyard on the Forge Hub page.
Yep. Yeah, and then the article's been cross-posted to the Hub as well, so you can check that out on there.
So, coming up Monday is going to be the next rush in the end-of-year giveaway that is being run by Rageborn Nerds. So make sure that you guys get signed up like there on GrifballHub.com, and we will be broadcasting that, I believe, as well.
Yep. To clarify, you were saying Monday isn't tomorrow. Yes.
Yes,
It would be tomorrow.
To make sure that there's no confusion and people don't think it means the Monday after tomorrow.
true. So it would be Monday, December 12th
Oh.
is
It-
the next rush.
And going off what Rage has posted here, it looks like it's going to be the nerfed slide game type that they're using for it,
Yes.
not the normal.
Yep.
So keep
Yep.
that in mind when you're getting ready for it.
Yep.
And that's part of the purpose is for us to be able to A, to have fun, B, step outside of our normal box of Halo, and C, to test out some new variants of the game type that we've been talking about doing and that have either haven't had the opportunity to test out thoroughly or haven't had a chance to create simply because we were limited by options in Forge that are now finally unlocked and available to us. So that's going to be a great opportunity if you would like to try out some of the new opportunities and new options. Head on out to the rushes. That's what they're there for.
Yep. Also talking about game types, we did finally get our matchmaking playlist update just this week.
Yes.
It was on
Oh,
Thursday.
It's glorious. It's glorious.
Well, and
Yep.
it's
Great.
It has, as Sonic mentioned earlier, it has come back. It was dropped to a rather mixed review. A lot of people who got really used to the original game type, which, as most League players know, we hated.
Yeah.
It is much closer to competitive Grifball, but with the obvious change of the fact that there is no single rounds. It's one round, 12 minutes, first team to reach 5, like normal.
Mm-hmm.
There is still ground pound for the runner for some reason, and whatever. But there's no shields, finally, thank God. And there's also no Spartan charge, also, thank God, because those were driving everybody, including me, crazy. Now, the downside is that has now created a massive, massive skill gap, because all the matchmaking kids who are used to this super fluffy, basic, I'm surrounded by bubble wrap version of Grifball, they're now kind of freaking out because Grifballers are walking in and literally pounding them into the pavement.
I mean, I'm not that great at it, and the first game I played, I got an air. Like, it's just, that gap is definitely there, and if you're not used to the settings, it's going to be rough for the first little bit.
It's the sort of thing.
It is.
The weird thing is I take a little bit more aggressively on the pro game type, so to speak, because the thing with shields is you're marking damage. Actually, I'm sorry, it's the other way around. I play more conservatively on pro and in matchmaking a little more aggressive, because in matchmaking with shields, you can take a hit. Once you've lost your shields, then you have to drop back to being conservative. In this case, it's like nobody has shields the entire time in the old matchmaking settings. If like once you have damage marked on you and your shield is down after that first hammer swing, your kill radius is the same as in that point. So it's basically at this point people are having to adjust to the new range of the game, and I find the kill range in pro is about the same as the damage range in old matchmaking, the range where you could knock down their shields but not kill them if they were at full health. So you can still get kills with it in that point. The problem is if you miscalculate, there's not as much room for error, because you don't have those shields to fall back on. If you miss your swing, all the other person has to do is take 1 or 2 steps forward and swing, and you're dead. So that's where the issue comes into play. And League Grifballers are used to that because this is not new here. Like if you played 3 or Reach Grifball, that was the exact same mechanic. I think a lot of the people who are really who are really having trouble with it, or who really dislike having no shields in this case, I think a lot of those players are players whose first experience with Grifball was with Halo 5 or Halo 4, where they experienced shields off the bat and got used to that mechanic. For those of us who have been around for a while and we're used to the old way of things, the old methods of hammer dancing from 3 and Reach, it's nothing new. And that's kind of what our hammer physics are aimed to emulate.
And one thing to consider is that now that the matchmaking settings are finally closer to where we wanted them, closer to where League players have needed them, so that we can actually practice without having to just go into customs, it's important to know that for those of you who are more socially forward, this is a great opportunity to recruit new players. If you find a player in matchmaking that's not part of the hub that does a great job at managing to darn near kick your butt, or actually can kick your butt without obviously breaking rules, definitely reach out to them, congratulate them, and say, hey, listen, you might want to check us out. Come play with us. Invite them. Make new friends. This is a great chance to do that. I mean, that's how a lot of us were introduced to Grifball back in the day, was because people were like, hey, listen, come check this out. That's a great way to help to help build things back up while we are coming into the next year, which is going to revolutionize and change the face of Grifball. One thing I want to point out, and I know that people are going to be like rolling their eyes at this, but I think it's very important that it needs to be pointed out because it's been happening. And I also just discovered that it happened to a very important person to the GrifballHub, a former 343 staffer, is going to be avoiding Grifball from now on. Because the former 343 staffer got stat padded pretty heavily on Saturday. So let me be very clear on this so that everybody understands the policy. Spawn killing is a legitimate strategy in the game. Without question, it can ensure that you get a 3-minute game completed. Not a problem. There are those of us who consider it to be slightly unsportsmanlike if you're standing behind the spawn, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a personal preference and a level of having compassion and being human. What is not acceptable and is illegal and considered exploiting the purpose of the game. The purpose of the game is to score 5 goals. If you are farming kills by holding the ball and not scoring the ball and just bouncing back and forth between spawns, killing people with the ball when you have had the opportunity to score, that is considered stat padding. That is not only a violation of the terms of service for Xbox Live, it's a violation of the terms of service by 343 for Halo, and it's a violation of Code of Ethics and Code of Conduct for GrifballHub. It is a suspendable and or bannable offense. League admins have been watching and are watching and will be watching. It is up to them to negotiate a term of consequences for that. Sonic can speak to that because he is one of those people. I am not. But it needs to be said, this is not acceptable. It is driving some people away from Grifball when we are wanting to actually bring more people to Grifball. Do us all a favor. Do yourself a favor. Play by the rules. Win the game. Please do not go farming kills. And I know I just became the most unpopular person with about half of the people who are going to hear this podcast by saying that. And honestly, I don't really care.
I don't think any of the people who would hate you for saying that watch this podcast, to be honest.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. So it's something that has happened. It's happened to me, and I honestly, it's the fact that it's being done to, that it was done to somebody who helped create the game, and to a point. And this person was a very big supporter of ours, and is now still a supporter of the GrifballHub, but not going to be playing matchmaking because of things that were done by players. I'm a little disappointed. So please keep in mind, despite the fun that it might be to negotiate absolute terror into the minds of other players, please, if you're going to win the game, see if you can start a timing competition with your friends. See how fast you can win the game out. See how fast you can score the game out. That's great. Just don't farm for kills because it's rude.
You get more rec points by winning the games fast than by making them last 15 minutes.
There we go.
Well, speaking of that,
win a game fast and keep winning games fast and get more rec points.
I actually just had a fast game I posted to my YouTube channel. It was like a 2-minute and 45-second game. Like, They couldn't do anything, and it was just ridiculous, but it was fun. You know, you go through it, and then you find the next game, where I ran into both puppies in the same game and got my butt kicked. So, it happens.
Yep, I will say keep an eye out for both the 73 puppies. They are on a tear right now, and it's beautiful watching them in a game because they can just roll it out like that, and it's super fast and it's brutal. It really goes to show how much talent we have in a lot of our pro players and a lot of our veterans. So, on to the next topic.
Yep. Do we have another topic?
Let's see. We have
talked about the Pro Tour already, I believe.
Forging and the launch, GGLs. I think we are. Yeah, I think we're pretty much good. Just keep an eye out on Twitter and on the Hub page for announcements concerning the next playoff games, and when those are going to be happening, we'll be doing our best to stream all of them. Otherwise, we will be back on tomorrow night for the Rush and continue. Actually, that means we're going to have 5 full days of streaming this week.
Ooh.
So,
man.
Tuesday's Caster Showcase, Wednesday and Thursday night Grifball, tomorrow night's The Rush, and of course we'll be hosting the Forge Hub community channel night on Friday.
Yep. And also just a note real quick, if you are interested in playing in the Grifball Pro Tour, that is going to be starting at the start of next month. So you might want to start getting teams together. It's going to be 4-man rosters, so grab a couple friends if you want to see how well you stack up against some of the best teams in Grifball right now.
When are some of the rushes going to be starting for that? Or is
The
this
first
just a sign-up?
qualifiers are going to be held January 2nd, and it's going to be about 8 days between them to spread it out across different days of the week for people's availability. So January
Cool.
2nd, January 10th, January 18th, and January 26th are the 4 qualifying dates. And then
Awesome.
the regular season, once the professional league is set, that's going to start February 6th, if I remember correctly.
Cool. I'm excited. I think
Yep.
those will be a lot of really fun games to cast.
Yeah.
Do keep an eye out for the site. We're going to be announcing that soon, hopefully as soon as the forum section for that goes up as well. The site actually is live right now. It's just password protected. But soon,
Awesome.
soon. I have been posting. I've posted a couple of pictures of it on Twitter recently and on the Hub chat box. So it's looking really good. We're really excited to make this happen.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. We will see you next time on twitch.tv/GrifballHub.
Thank you for listening to the Grifball Hubcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @GrifballHub for all the latest in Grifball news and entertainment.